seconds while you dream. A life never lives in peace. As you stand upon the edge, woven by a single thread, and fate may fall down upon you, while the devil is knocking right at your door. So are you restless? Each night you hear the drums of war. Awaken, awaken, the voice begins to call you while you hunger. A taste of destiny you're searching for. Awaken, awaken, the fight is at your door. Take up the cause. As you stand upon the edge, hanging in the balance, and fate may fall down upon you, while the devil is knocking. So are you restless? Each night you hear the drums of war. Awaken, awaken, the voice begins to call you while you hunger. A taste of destiny you're searching for. Awaken, awaken, awaken.
Good morning, preseason. Yes, I'm not saying good morning, Vietnam. That joke is overused, but it is good morning, preseason, because the VCS, as we hit the second round robin, are jumping on into the preseason patch. And I thought, who would be two wonderful folks? Who would be two people who would be ahead of the curve, knowing what is to come for preseason? Obviously, it's our two wonderful German analysts in the form of 𝘀cie and Tim. Should we be excited for preseason?
Yes, we should be. It's great, honestly.
For sure. I mean, we
Okay.
have really good new items coming up. We've called out the 𝘁𝗏𝗀 with Axiom Arc, and I'm sure we have a lot of more stuff to talk about that later. But anyway, You wanted to add something as well, 𝘀𝗀𝗆?
No, I just want to be told all of the excitement that is to come. I want to know all of the broken items, all of the broken champions in a good way, in a bad way. I want to know everything. Just tell me everything. Tim, I'll go to you first.
I think the first thing I want to talk about is a bit the rune changes, or 2 new runes, or at least 1 change rune and 1 new rune. We have First Strike coming in as a new 𝘀𝗀𝗋𝗀𝗋. It now also deals damage, but gives you a little bit less gold. I think it is very situational. It can be good, especially arranged into melee matchups on mid lane, on top lane. It can be used very effectively. Champions like Ezreal, of course, still can take it, usually as 𝘀𝗀𝗋𝗀𝗋 could be used by them. But it can be used wrongly as well, and I think it is a bit overused, at least from what I have seen so far. And on the other hand, I think we have a very underrated rune in the beginning that now is really showing its head, and that's Lethal Tempo. I think the new Lethal Tempo, it was a great change. It's really strong, and champions like Jinx, for example, are massively abusing the champion and the rune, and are just running over the game right now.
𝘀𝗀𝗆, anything you'd like to add to the list that is starting to form?
Definitely. I mean, there's like the new 𝘀𝗋𝗋𝗀𝗋, which adds like a damage reduction part. I mean, some supports. I mean, the VCS tends to play a lot of Alistar, Leona, and all that buzz. I mean, they probably like to go maybe 𝘀𝗋𝗋𝗀𝗋 instead of the Aftershock right now. So maybe that's what where they're going, where you have like the icy zones on the field, which apply a damage reduction to everyone but yourself. And for the tanky supports, it doesn't matter that much that you aren't really a part of the damage reduction queue on your own. So that's maybe something that especially supports could be going for. On another note, despite First Strike, also Viktor is very highly focused, and Kassadin as well, because of the new mid lane item, and that is Crown of the Shattered Queen, an item that gives you bonus AP after taking damage from an enemy champion, and also damage reduction for a few seconds. So especially those raid boss-like mid laners like Kassadin and Viktor benefit a lot from it.
Okay, well, maybe in 5 years' time, just like with the Blade of the Ruined King, we're going to be getting a Shattered Queen champion in, or maybe it already exists and we just don't know it. Tim, going back to you, we've heard about Crown of the Shattered Queen, we've heard about some of the broken items. What are... Well, actually, no, we haven't heard about enough of the broken items, because there's one item in specific that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yes, and I think that's the Axiom Arc, a new lethality champion item coming in, and which basically gives you a lot of CDR just as a base. And then whenever you get the kill or assist within 3 seconds, you also get 25 seconds refunded cooldown on your ultimate, which usually turns out very funny for champions like Nocturne, like Set or Qiyana, who can proc it very effectively in team fights. At some point, can just ult twice.
Ulting twice. I actually played a game, 𝘀𝗀𝗆, not too long ago, where I played Nocturne with Axiom Arc, and I managed to get 4 ults off in a fight. It was a very long, extended fight, but people kept running in thinking, we can come in and contest this Baron now. And then I just pressed R and killed them. Then another person was coming, and I just kept doing it. It was really fun.
Yeah, I've casted a game with a Nocturne, and he was just straight up rushing Axiom Arc instead of like going a Godrinker or Duskblade or any mythic item first. Because I mean, if you ult in as a Nocturne, you assume to get like at least 1 takedown anyway. I mean, otherwise it would just not be a very good paranoia usage of the Nocturne. So might as well take Axiom Arc straight up first and go with it, right? You get so much alt cooldown reduction. And right now, I think I already saw like the preview of the next patch where they were already nerfing it from 25% refund to the 20%. So while it's still very, very hot, you got to take it.
Now, one thing I do want to touch on is, Tim, I want to go back to this First Strike rune, because I've seen lots of people taking it. I've seen a Viktor taking First Strike and only getting 500 gold out of the item over the course of a 25-30 minute game. But then I've seen a 𝘁𝗀𝗋𝗃 being able to take First Strike and getting 2,000 gold out of the same 35-minute game. So what are the factors that really assist First Strike becoming useful to a player or a champion?
I think, especially if you want to have gold in the early game, which usually with the gold runes, like, it's nice to get more gold at 35 minutes, but it's not going to change the game, right? If you want to have a change in the game, you want to have 500, 600 extra gold in the laning phase. And I think for that, having range versus melee matchups is really important. I think one matchup that we for example can see, like against Sylas players, even against players like Vex, who technically aren't melee range, but they're more playing like a melee champion, that can be very easily dodged, and First Strike can be very easily procced by champions like the Viktor. I think those champions are really the ones that want to take it. And I've seen it a bit on junglers. You talked about the 𝘁𝗋𝗋𝗃. I've seen it on Talon. just for the extra 10% damage. I'm not too sure how good it is, but I think for laners, range advantage is the crucial factor.
Range advantage being the critical factor. Obviously, you want to be getting those first strikes in. Okay, so with the 𝘀𝑺ry against GAM coming up, let's talk a little bit less about the preseason and more about the pre-match. And by that, I want to be talking about 𝘀𝑺ry and GAM. What do we essentially think of them coming into this? Because 𝘀𝑺ry are ahead in the standings. They are 6-1, but recently GAM have been looking so good. They've got 2 losses in the standings so far, 𝘀𝑺ry, but that was in the first week. And after the first week, GAM have looked arguably better than 𝘀𝗏 even.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe a little bit too much to say arguably better than 𝘀𝗏, but they definitely are on the streak. You could say like it's a little bit of the return of the king. And yeah, as you said, the first 2 losses were the first 2 games of the split overall. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and they're coming in very hot. I mean, 𝘀𝑺ry's loss was like in between their going good streak, if I could put it like this, because they had like first some wins. Some of them was ironically against GAM because they won the first match against them 2-0 pretty convincingly. And yeah, they had their loss to 𝘀𝗏 as any team of the league so far had. But both teams are like maybe on an even footing, I would say. But GAM is slightly edging them out in recent performances, I would say. And yeah, especially with 𝘁𝑺ry going slowly back to form, it will be a very tough series for 𝘀𝑺ry to play.
And Tim, talking about recent performances, we saw a very... How do I put this delicately? A really, really bad performance from 𝘀𝑺ry against Team Secret.
Yeah, they really did not look great. I came out with a win anyways, somehow. But I think there was more to... I mean, there was more to what Secret just not wanting to win in the end than 𝘀𝑺ry really, really deserving it, I guess. And I think especially today, the jungle matchup is what everybody's looking at, right? Like Killer Queen versus 𝘁𝑺ry. I mean, that is probably going to decide the game. And especially like top side overall. I mean, 𝘁𝗏 versus 𝘁𝗏, 𝘁𝑺ry versus Killer Queen. I think those 2 matchups will be so game deciding, and we have some of the best players overall on these positions in the game today.
And 𝘀𝑺ry, Tim's touched on the jungle role, but I want to touch a little bit on the ADC role, because GAM and 𝘀𝑺ry are, I think, 2 unique teams alongside, I think, one other team who I forget who like to rotate their bottom lanes from time to time. We've seen GAM playing with 𝘀𝗏 and DivKid. 𝘀𝑺ry, we saw 𝘁𝗏 making a debut in that series against Team Secret, and we were wondering if that was just to warm potentially 𝘁𝗏 up for this specific series, if they knew there's changes coming in the preseason and they want a different style of an ADC in the form of 𝘁𝗏. What did you make of 𝘁𝗏's performance against Team Secret, and do you think he should be starting against GAM today?
I mean, the Secret series, very hard word to say, by the way, was a little bit more on the rougher end for 𝘀𝑺ry. So maybe advice against that 𝘁𝗏 is a little bit rough around the edges, I would say. And maybe it is indeed recommendable to play like VCS over there. And yeah, aside from that, GAM, of course, just like 𝘀𝗏 also likes to rotate the ADCs. And luckily for both teams, I would also say that the preseason didn't change too much in the ADC role. I mean, lethal tempo is like the one big thing you might have to hold out against. But with the 𝗀𝗏 misfortune meta, maybe that's not even that big of a deal in the VCS itself, because they still like to play those 2 a lot. But it's slowly starting to shift away from that. And with more hyper carries like Jinx coming up, with some more 𝘀𝗏𝗀𝗏s going around, maybe that is also bound to change. And maybe we will see 𝘁𝗏 again today, but I would probably expect that VCS is the AD carry for today.
Okay, and Tim, we've touched on junglers. One other thing I want to bring up is mid lane, because whenever we talk about jungle, sometimes we have to touch on the jungle mid lane duo. 𝘀𝑺ry against 𝘁𝗏. 𝘀𝗏 has been performing fairly well so far, but 𝘁𝗏 has also been playing very well. You know, at the start of the split, we saw a bit of the Galio games, and GAM not really utilizing 𝘁𝗏 a lot. But as the split has progressed, we've just seen him playing more and more aggressive champions and being able to do more and more work for the side of GAM.
Yeah, I think a lot of the change that came in for GAM, I think, was both solo laners basically coming into their own. 𝘁𝗏 coming back to form, finally being dominant in top lane, and then 𝘁𝗏 starting to have those aggressive performances. Especially, I think his Syndra is a huge problem for teams, because it enables them both to have a strong laning phase and to roam the map and just be a force with 𝘁𝗏. And I mean, 𝘁𝗏 takes his priority and then just runs with it and runs over the game. So I think for 𝘁𝗏 is just going to be important. Get the priority, get towards 𝘁𝗏, make sure my jungler can play the game, and then for 𝘀𝗀𝗋, he has to contest with 𝘀cie, who I think also has been looking great the last few series.
However, we touched on the jungle matchup, 𝘁𝗰𝗋 against 𝘁𝘀𝗀, two of the best junglers in the league. 𝘁𝘀𝗀, a man who needs no introduction whatsoever. And 𝘀𝗀𝗋, they're going to be first picking the Graves, a champion that 𝘁𝗀𝗋 has only played once so far this split, 𝘀𝗀𝗋.
For sure, but you need to take in that is also coded against 𝘁𝗀𝗋 in the top lane, and both like to play the ranged top laners. I have also seen Graves top lane from coded, if I remember correctly, and so it's still technically a flex pick for them. Although on this patch, Graves in lane has been not as good, so I would probably expect him to still go towards the jungle. What also kind of surprised me is the Talon gun, because I've seen 𝘁𝗀𝗋 play a lot of Talon, that is true, but 𝘁𝘀𝗀 is a jungler that is very ready to punish a Talon. We have seen this in the versus 𝘁𝗀𝗋 series, where he punished the Talon 𝘂𝐵 beautifully. They never really got into the game, and this is why the ban surprises me a little bit, but this just tells me that maybe they respect 𝘁𝗀𝗋 and did something that they definitely should do.
And Tim, so far, I was going to say, this draft looks pretty much exactly the same as what we would have seen pre-season, with the exception of maybe a bit of extra focus towards this Jinx.
Yeah, I think the Jinx with a new lethal tempo, that's... I mean, I've heard at least... it's hard to say because there aren't too many leaks, but there are, of course, the core JJNA in-houses, who usually are pretty solid when it comes to meta, because there is a decent amount of good players. And I don't know a similar thing, for example, in the EU or China that I could watch regularly. So they basically came to the conclusion that Jinx is basically pick or ban, because you can't really beat her with enabling champions that are here, 𝘀𝗏, 𝘁𝑁, and so forth, so on. So I think picking her really nice. Also the Ziggs ban to protect her, making sure that you don't have that ranged champion together with Leona that can just burst her out. Really nice to see in the Jax into Irelia matchup, considering that they're probably thinking that Irelia is going top.
Okay, and actually, 𝘁𝗀𝗋, so far we've had 9 games of Irelia in the VCS. 5 of them top, 4 of them in the mid lane. 50% win rate in mid, 40% win rate in top. So it's a champion that has had mixed success, I think you could say. Where would you expect this Irelia to be going? Top lane, as Tim said, or maybe on 𝘀𝗀𝗋s in the mid lane?
What I think might be the case is that they maybe intended to pick it for coded, but as they saw the Jax for 𝘁𝗀𝗋, they maybe think differently and put it onto 𝘀𝗀𝗋s. It just depends on what 𝘁𝗀𝗋 is going to pick. I mean, his well-known set mid lane is still up and available for them, but that might be rough for the damage split. But as I say that, there's also 𝘁𝗀𝗀 in the jungle who could just play Karthus or Gragas or whatever and just fix the damage split this way, putting in some magic damage threat into the jungle on his own. But yeah, it's a little bit of a coin flip, I would say, because yeah, Irelia has been, just as you said, played in both lanes almost equally and also with the same mixed success. So as of now, I would probably expect it mid lane, but now the Vex is coming in. Vex really wounds mobility, so 𝘀𝗀𝗋 might have dropped themselves into a little bit of a corner there.
Yeah, we know how good 𝘁𝗀𝗋 is on the Vex as well. Tim, how much of a sin is it that Nocturne is still open?
I mean, it is a big sin. I don't like it, but the Gwen, I think, is a huge part here, because I really like what GAM has done in draft, because they picked Jax, basically saying, okay, you can't play Graves top, you can't play Irelia top. And now, if you pick an AP top laner, you're not going to get Kennen. You're going to have to go towards Gwen, who is very strong also with the new lethal tempo, but still is weak to Jax. Jax usually considered a counter pick to that Gwen, especially if Gwen falls behind early. So I think the draft so far from GAM has been really, really solid. And on the other hand, we see the 𝘁𝗀𝗋 champion and we see 𝘁𝗀𝗀𝗋 on something that I love it. I mean, just give me set every time. And he's also an Axiom Arc abuser, so love it. Love to see it. Love to see 𝘁𝗀𝗋 on that champion.
Okay, so 𝘁𝗀𝗋, this Zed pick, as Tim said, it can use the Axiom Arc as well. If Nocturne was a 5 on a scale of 0 to 10 in height, where is this Zed?
Probably a 4. I mean, a little bit less of a banger pick like the Nocturne, but maybe now that I think of it, I mean, like straight up mechanically, it's probably even more fun to watch, but it's like a little bit of a worse Nocturne maybe. I mean, it also abuses Axiom Arc, as Tim just said. It's also very high into the AD department. You can just dive in with the champion. But overall, I mean, in all of the 3 lanes, GAM has gotten a favorable matchup, I would say. So this one is pretty one-sided, considering the draft department, at least so far.
So quickly, 𝘁𝗀𝗋, Tim, I want to get your thoughts on both drafts before we jump on into the game. 𝘁𝗀𝗋, you first. Who do you think has come out of this drafting phase on top, and what do they need to play around in the early stages of the game to secure their win conditions?
I just said it, 𝘀𝗀 has it a little bit easier here. I want them to focus towards the bot lane because the bot lane is like the one thing that could go wrong if the Jhin Leona lane suddenly gets ahead. Then this might be a problem for style on the Jinx, but overall I think 𝘀𝗀 has a very well-rounded composition.
And Tim?
I love the team comp because even though you could say, okay, they're missing like a tank, traditional one, I think 𝘁𝗀 basically is a tank in this game because if we look at the damage that's coming towards his way, his E basically blocks all of it. So I really love the team comp that 𝘀𝗀 has drafted, and especially like the Jax pick and then the defensive bans and all around. I think 𝘀𝗀 just won draft massively, and I expected them to win the series anyways, and I think the draft just shows up for them.
Well, potentially 𝘀𝗀 getting a slightly better read on the meta than 𝘀𝗀cie in our first game of preseason, the first game of the second round robin. 𝘀𝗀cie, Tim, thank you very much. We're going to be jumping into the game, and 𝘁𝗀 will be joining us as we enter into Summoner's Rift. 𝘁𝗀, first game of preseason, first game of the second round robin, and we've got a Zed.
And I hate it. I hate Zed jungle. It's a bad pick. It's okay. So 𝘁𝗀 could definitely make it work against this composition because all he really needs to do is try and get one of these 3 lanes rolling, and they can go through the rest. And then Zed being kind of a dog champ later on doesn't actually matter. Because the lanes are just so strong for the side of 𝘀𝗀 that 𝘁𝗀 could honestly pick whatever the hell he pleased. He could have busted out the Teemo if he so desired, I feel like. Because the rest of the draft gap was so good. But he's gone for the Zed, and with that in mind, I think he would really like to head towards the mid lane in particular. I think shutting down the Irelia is the most important. You can also say the Jhin is definitely.
I really like that that the observers are showing us right now. It's beautiful.
That's a rough one. That's a rough one. But yeah, again,
wait, what? This isn't 2 minutes 11 into the game, so they rewound. Just to point that out for all of our stream viewers, we have no control over this. This is VETV, who are, well, I guess they've got their timer from a different source, so we're actually almost a minute down. So we're actually 1 minute 40 seconds into the game rather than 2 minutes 30, as we get a very slow pan towards the top lane.
And having a delay like that between the actual game being played and what is shown on stream is completely reasonable. But
yeah,
whatever happened there was, that was shocking. So we are going to know that the top lane is going to trade into each other extremely heavily, and with both junglers pathing topside, this could get interesting as well. I don't think there's a lot of particularly good setup for either to make a gank happen unless Coated overextends. So there's a lot of trading going on. Let's see it go up there. Zed is hovering, so is 𝘁𝗀, but it might just be a fight around the jungle instead. Nope, here we go.
And 𝘁𝗀 wants this. 𝘁𝗀 looking to go in. Counter-strike comes through. 𝘁𝗀 flashing forward. And it is a first blood to 𝘀𝗀cie. 𝘁𝗀 getting the first kill of the preseason.
Yeah, read it completely. They knew it was absolutely going that way. And Coated was able to completely juke out 𝘁𝗀 and walk down to get the support of his jungler. And even then, they couldn't really want to continue because Blazers had the roam first. On top of that, just seeing 𝘁𝗀, he has to back up and give up that scuttle crab. He did get one on the bottom side, so it's not disaster there, but it's 𝘁𝗀 off to a very good start.
See, I was under the impression that 𝘁𝗀 was supposed to win the top lane matchup, but Coated is the one who was able to get the push onto 𝘁𝗀, slightly healthy as well. And I see 𝘀𝗀cie giving a little shrug of the shoulders as I question his analysis.
So, for what it's worth, I think the matchup is still good for 𝘁𝗀, but the early shove, especially the level 1 and the 2, you can't really contest the Gwen. The E is very strong. The wave shove of just the Q. I think that's fine to sort of look. I think the Gwen is fine there in that matchup in the earliest levels, but as you get around this level 4 mark, Jax should be able to take back over. But yeah, that was just good setup, good push, good punish on the side of 𝘁𝗀, who has also gone for this first strike. It is, I feel, is worth mentioning. Very interesting. it's not like he necessarily needs this additional support in his clear, but has decided that the little 5% damage buff is more important than, say, an Electrocute or a Dark Harvest or something along those lines to get him rolling in a different rune tree.
So, it wouldn't be a 𝘀𝗀cie cast without some 𝘀𝗀cie fun stats. So, my stat for you, Mobby. How many times do you think Zed's been played so far in the VCS Winter Split?
Once.
Did you check this up with... Yeah.
No, because I would remember Zed jungle, and I do remember it because DNK Zed is one of the worst things I've ever seen. But yeah, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Look, he's keeping up in pace with the Graves. It was a fumble on the top side again, of course, but across the rest of the map, it's going fairly well. Small leads in mid and bot side. Top, like, he's getting there. Has the push now as well, able to force out, but has to be careful. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is on the top side to make sure Coated doesn't go punished.
Yeah, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 just showing up and maybe just going to help Coated push it in the top. That's a lot of damage. Coated hitting level 6 as the needlework comes through. Teleport now from 𝘀𝗀𝗃. And a 2v2 because 𝘀𝗀𝗃 can't really join into this. And look how much damage Levi is taking. One more auto would be enough. But now it's 𝘀𝗀𝗃's turn to drop down the damage. But he can't run on to 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Coated shows up. And GAM used so much. And now Blazes is here. This could all end very badly for GAM. It could end badly for Blazes, but no, he's going to be able to get the kill with the Vanguard's Edge. Locks down 𝘀𝗀𝗃. They can't get a ward on to the Dark Passage. Death Sentence will narrowly avoid both Blazes and Coated, and it's just one kill going over to 𝘀𝗀𝗃.
Yeah, it's 𝘀𝗀𝗃 just having the experience lead and thus having the advantage in that fight. Even though 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is able to get up there, it's never a numbers advantage because 𝘀𝗀𝗃 was removed from the fight immediately. Levi does manage to get out and 𝘀𝗀𝗃 goes down and B just overstepping. But good class from GAM.
𝘀𝗃 is actually getting a bit too aggressive. He shows up and says, hey, I want a part in this, but doesn't realize that there are just more members of GAM. And here's how Blazes got the kill.
Yeah, I mean, flash ult lands it. It's a bit of it's a shame there that fear kept keeping them away from the Dark Passage means he always has the route out. What we see down here is just B. He pushes a little far into what feels like a little far into the river, but there is actually Levi coming, and it's a very good collapse. Even though H3 is there, it is a numbers advantage this time, and they are able to punish and get the kill onto Blazes. Levi being able to pick that up means he has the ability to try and take that to a different lane, take it to bot lane, for example, and then try and get this Jinx rolling.
And we've seen this time after time in the VCS, and I think specifically with 𝘀𝗀𝗃, just playing very skirmish heavy, consistently looking for these fights, even if they aren't keeping, let's say, the best track of where enemy members are and how many members could potentially be in whatever team fight or skirmish they're about to take.
Yeah, and you're looking towards the side of like B. He's been on the map very quickly. It's one of his strengths. He's a very good roaming support, and getting Style out of the lane first means they should have complete control over this Rift Herald. The only thing would be if 𝘀𝗀𝗃 can somehow find that level 6 beforehand. Is not, but he finds a hook instead.
Yeah, he finds the wrong end of a death sentence. The Shadow Surge comes through. Blaze is forced to engage to try to get something off this fight. The curtain call is dropped down. Coated coming into the backline. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 able to leap his way out to safety. And 𝘀𝗀𝗃 on the run. Style just trying to zone 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Now a Shadow Surge forces a flash from 𝘀𝗀𝗃. Otherwise, he was almost certainly a goner. And it's another kill going the way of GAM. Again, 𝘀𝗀𝗃 overstepping. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 trying to contest for stuff that they have no right to contest.
Yeah, they thought they had it, but it was a beautiful setup in the bush. They pick it up, and despite this great triple stun from the side of Blazes, there's no actual support. Coated's too far away.
Okay.
𝘀𝗀𝗃's too far away. Oh,
look at the play by. Yeah, on our play and play, somehow Coated just shows up and forces everyone from GAM away. Secures the Rift Herald, which 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is able to pick up. And now 𝘀𝗀𝗃 are just still pushing forward, but doesn't realize that Style was waiting right there. He's going to take a zap to the face. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 want more. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 are going to be able to take a red buff. Okay, this is way too aggressive, H3. You need to calm down just a little bit as he gifts the GAM their 4th kill of the game.
Yeah, we saw there after the play, GAM didn't actually turn straight onto the Herald. They fluffed around a little bit in the blue side jungle, picked up a blue buff steal, but in the end it gave time for 𝘀𝑠ary to reset and actually contest the jungle where 𝘀𝗀 had low health bars, and then yeah, I don't know what this was. Didn't have level 6 either to buy the time.
I'm just wondering if 𝘀𝑐 essentially just said, hey, one of us is going to die here. I'm just going to go in so that they can't collapse on the rest of us.
It's possible, but I don't think you necessarily do that outside of like trying to like make sure you're in front of 𝘁𝗀 so you eat the hook. I just find it very, very odd from 𝘀𝑐. Getting a little bit hypey with that Leona. And now this is a very good lead for 𝘀. Has the boots 2 and the Noon Quiver and pickaxe, so should be able to do a lot of damage to these towers. And if he ever gets the time to just build up that lethal tempo onto a single target.
Oh, Solar Flare onto 2 members, Deadly Flourish, locks down B. This time it is beautifully played by 𝘀𝑐. 𝘀𝗏, and 𝘁𝗏 making their way down. 𝘁𝗀 and 𝘀𝑐 have to be careful because 𝘁𝗏 and 𝘁𝗏 out of vision. The engage comes through. Shadow Surge tanked up by 𝘀𝑐. Deadly Flourish locks down onto 𝘀𝗏. And the side of GAM want more. Another Shadow Surge coming through. 𝘁𝗏 tanking up a lot of tower damage. One more auto flash forward. 𝘁 able to secure it, but he's going to walk right onto the Flame Chompers. It's going to be a double kill for 𝘀𝗏. And overall, GAM get 3 kills for 2. Meanwhile, in the top lane, 𝘁𝗏 just picking up a solo kill onto 𝘁𝗏.
Yeah, very good. And now Blaze is here to convert as well. 𝘀𝗏 is not aware of this at all. Okay, fine. Manages to flash the Vanguard's edge, so should be fine from here. But good collapse. Sort of good response from both teams, actually. We're seeing the second half of this play where just clipping on the edge there lets the resets come through, lets 𝘁𝗏 pop off and get the setup strong. 𝘁 does commit to get the trade kill, but giving it up, I'm not entirely sure is... I don't know if that's worth it, because it is another kill over to the Jinx. You don't really want that at all. But on the top side, getting a trade from 𝘁𝗏 is good. The initial play we did see, it was just 𝘀𝗏 and B being very aggressive, playing the lane as they should, but it was just a really unfortunate time because 𝘁𝗀 was right there and ready to respond.
And that final play, you can see why 𝘁 went for it, but he burnt a flash, he only got a 1-for-1, and he missed a whole wave of experience as well. This is 𝘁𝗏 actually initiating on 𝘁𝗀 as well.
Yeah, and it gets really close. It's just by the skin of his teeth. It's that little bit of the extra Ignite Summoner spell coming up huge for 𝘁𝗀. And honestly, at that so close, you can't even blame 𝘁𝗏 for trying. Like, nope. He's down, he wants to go for something, and now he's going to lose his turret thanks to this Rift Herald prepared earlier.
And 𝘀𝗏 is here as well. Maybe the bait from the side of 𝘀𝗏. 𝘁 just hiding slightly out of vision. And GAM think it's a 1v2, but it is actually a 4v1. The tower won't be secured. First tower still on the cards. But I do want to point out 𝘀𝗏 3-0-3 on this Jinx right now. He is snowballing like crazy.
Yeah, already got that mythic completed and should be able to tear through anyone that tries to step to him. There's not really a lot of hope left on the side of 𝘀𝗏 in terms of, you know, tanking through it outside Gwen is immune. So it's up to them, it's up to Blazers and 𝘀𝗏 to try and find their way into the back line and detonate the Jinx before she can really wreak havoc. Just finding himself a little bit rooted outside of turret range, so he's feeling it.
I also want to do a quick lethal tempo count. We've got 4. That's not bad.
3. What?
3? 4.
No, 4. Wow, yep.
Oh, yeah.
I missed
for a sec. So, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because I feel that coming into this game, you almost can't tell that it's preseason, right? There's, you know, none of the drafts feel entirely different with the exception of 𝘁𝗏 picking up a 𝘁. Everything seems very samey.
Yeah, and I think 𝘁 wasn't even like a completely screwball pick. That you could definitely see it. It's not a normal pick, but I'll hold that as 𝘁𝗀.
𝘁𝗀 being dived on, there is no how a death sentence on top, and it will sentence 𝘁𝗀 to death. And to be honest, I'm surprised that 𝘁𝗀 only had 1 kill. I thought he had been part of a lot of kills, so the fact that he was only 1-0-1 is a little bit shocking to me, actually.
First blood went over to kill a queen. 𝘁𝗀 got the solo kill, but from there, there wasn't actually a lot going on around this top side. There was a bit of a kerfuffle on the Rift Herald, but 𝘀cie stuck in top lane for that, and went back there when 𝘀cie overpushed into the jungle and gave a kill away on the side of H3. So it's a little bit of good news for 𝘀cie because he hasn't been involved in the bad, but it means he hasn't been involved, which could have potentially turned some of the other plays around.
1,000 gold lead to the side of GAM at the moment. Ocean Drake has been secured. I have no idea what Drake's coming up. The fact that it's not showing makes me think that it is either the 𝗀𝗃 or 𝘀𝗃, and it's a bug happening with the spectator client. As we're seeing some ping from 𝘀𝗀cie on style and B.
Do we get a? Can we get a pick in? It's 𝗀𝗃. Yeah.
𝗀𝗃, okay.
𝗀𝗃. So a little bit more attack speed for the side of Jax and what's her face, Jinx, or Gwen and Irelia, depending on who picks it up. But nothing too major. It's only the baby Drakes don't provide a hell of a lot. The unfortunate thing is that does mean 𝘀𝗃 is still on the menu, which is interesting because it's new, but unfortunate because it's broken and bonkers and disgusting in every other respect. But look at this. We've given up a lot of pressure. Topside has given a free Rift Herald over, and now they have the control of the mid wave and should be able to crash that mid tower and pick that up quite easily with only Vex here to defend. So Levi is on his way.
Well, Levi wants to defend this tower too, and I guess once again for 𝘀𝗀cie, it's another Rift Herald being dropped and the tower not being secured at the time of the Herald. In the top lane, 𝘀𝗀cie were eventually able to pick up the outer tower, as the 𝗀𝗃 Drake has now spawned, and it will be GAM looking to pick up their second Drake of the game.
Yeah, and it felt like 𝘀𝗀cie were, oh god, it's 𝘀𝗃. Oh boy, here we go. So now GAM really wants to focus on the bot side. They have 2 Drakes. They don't want to give any opportunity for 𝘀𝗀cie to get those. And by the same token, 𝘀𝗀cie really does not want that soul going over to GAM, because if GAM gets that, they get second lives. They get an extra 𝘀𝗀 on their team, but he has 5 ults. Well, old 𝘀𝗀. New 𝘀𝗀 doesn't have that. But yeah, we don't want this. We don't. That's disaster for the side of 𝘀𝗀cie. And actually, I'm gonna drag my mind away a little bit for a sec, my tangent away for a second, and point out that Levi has gone for the Serpent's Fang, as 𝘀𝗀cie is getting ganked.
And 𝘀𝗀cie will be dying. He is not outplaying this. Okay, he finds a fair bit of damage onto Levi, but eventually pop goes the death mark, and up pop goes 𝘀𝗀cie.
Yeah, and 𝘁𝗀ie just teleporting up for the moral support. It was not needed at all, but really didn't want to risk anything happening. And I'm very confused by this pickup on the side of Levi. There's only the one Immortal Shield Bow coming through. There might be a Sterak's later on for Blazes, but those are the only shields that are really there. I'm half expecting H3 to go for the Evan Shroud, because that seems to be the better option for the side of Leona, but who knows? And here goes.
Oh, that's a lot of damage to flay into the box. H3 and 𝘁 just both are going to get deleted. GAM pick up 2 more kills. An overextension from the side of 𝘀𝗀cie, punished beautifully by the reigning champions.
Ooh, just missing on the final reset, and that is enough with just a small minion wave to get a lot of damage down onto that tower. Let's see here. It's just basically all 𝘁𝗀ie nuking 𝘁 to half health instantly. A little bit of help from Jinx to get up that on H3, who is just tanky enough to sort of sit in the middle of them for a little bit, but with no help, no means of escape. It's a second kill going over to GAM, and they are in dominant position. Despite a small hiccup in the early game, it's been nothing but gas since then for the side of GAM.
And actually, 𝘁𝗀ie is, I think, the only player in the VCS who has a 100% win rate on Vex. 3 games on the champion so far, and not lost a single one. I mean, maybe someone else has played 1 game of Vex and got it, but I don't really count that. Also has 4 games of Syndra. Not yet lost a game on Syndra has 𝘁𝗀ie either. So 𝘁𝗀ie, when on these aggressive mid lane champions, able to make a lot happen. Soliflare is dropped down, but Sar just cleanses it away instantly. Flash away from Killer Queen, and 𝘁𝗀ie will pop him. 𝘀𝗃 zap down, slow down, will try to flash, will try to run, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. 𝘁𝗏 trying to get in range of the leap strike, but unable to do so. And GAM will just take the 1 kill onto 𝘁𝗃 and back off. They could even just look for a Baron here.
They're absolutely going to. They got the jungler. Blazers is on the bot side of the map, and they have so much Baron damage with Jax and Jinx. So this thing is going to melt. It's up to Coated, it's up to Blazers to really find big entrance and a lot of AoE.
It's a 3v5. Vanguard's edges are dropped down. The Baron has been taken, but look at the amount of work that 𝘀𝗀cie are doing. Blazers is going to fall. Coated is stuck 1v2 in the pit. Not going to be able to find the kill on to 𝘁𝗏. And 𝘁𝗃 a little bit late to the party. In fairness to 𝘀𝗀cie, they got 2 kills for 3 in a 3v5 scenario, so that's not a bad job.
That was much closer fight than it had any right to be. You're absolutely right. But in the end, while it's in numbers, Style able to flash over the wall and rain in hell from a distance means that it does end up going for the side of 𝘀𝗀cie there. You just see Style untouched, being able to throw in rockets over there. And 𝘁𝗏 able to stand in the middle, tank up a lot with that Counter-Strike, of course, and just in general, he can be a very tanky lad when he has his ult on. And now, we're off to about 5k lead for GAM. 2 dragons, they have Baron as well, so the setup for the 3rd Drake should be fantastic, and I don't see 𝘀𝗀cie being able to contest, and I don't necessarily think they should, besides maybe hunting for a miracle steal, for a little bit of a steal, just to take a dragon away. Miracle is not the word yet.
Well, we are getting in towards Christmas time. You've heard of Miracle on Elm Street. Are you ready for I can't say the word miracle. What is wrong with me? We've got an engage happening. Super Mega Death Rocket. 𝘁𝗃 will die. Guardy picking up the kill. It's a good death sentence. 𝘁𝗃 flayed away. Blazers on it to 𝘁𝗏. Blazers is going to take it down low, and 𝘁𝗏 is going to be able to get 1 kill. Sidestepping the deadly frost. Jumping onto there. He's going to get the kill. Now he's on to 𝘁𝗃. 𝘁𝗃 will be able to get 1 back. The zap comes through. Style still a little bit excited, but not massively excited. The fairground ride has stopped, sadly, for Jinx, and she's got a path over to the Chem Tech Drake. Is a replay of how this fight all started up.
Yeah, 𝘁𝗃 getting a little bit caught out, but it's a very aggressive play from 𝘀𝗀cie to go back into it as they sort of try and collapse 𝘀𝗀cie, but the big problem is 𝘁𝗏 is a beast and picks up a double kill in a 1v3. So the other side of the map the other side of the map goes handily in the side of GAM because they have a massive they have the numbers advantage. But 𝘁𝗏 just absolutely filthy that game, and yeah, GAM were able to pick it up because 𝘁𝗃 does not feel confident in trying to go for the takeaway on the fight. I guess his smite was probably down as well, so didn't want to jump into the face of a Jinx and a Thresh, which fair.
Okay, so I just want to quickly practice Miracle. Yes, Miracle. So, what I wanted to say was, you've heard about Miracle on Elm Street. Well, are you ready for Miracle on Preseason Patch? 𝘁𝗃 might need 1 solar flare, just dodged really well by Levi. Shadow Surge comes in. Pop will go. 𝘁𝗃. Levi returns to his shadow, and now that means that 𝘁𝗃 has nowhere to go. However, the engage comes through. Lockdown is Levi, and it will make it a 1-for-1. Well, actually, a 2-for-1 because the Coated died somewhere. And I think that was 𝘁𝗏 finally getting his revenge and picking up the solo kill in the process. That happened in the bottom lane, and it is all going on, or it's all going the way of GAM.
Yeah, because as we can see on the screen, the bot lane's just hard shoving the mid lane, completely uncontested, able to take 2 towers and an inhibitor, and now an easy rotation down to pick up a 3rd with the help of 𝘁𝗏 having cleared away that pesky Gwen in the bot lane. It's just, 𝘀𝗀cie are trying to do things. They're making attempts on the map, but they are just, at this point, way too far behind. The draft gap is not helping either, and it's just all downhill from here. If they can find their way, find a steal, maybe they can try and play for objective bounties, but it's a bit of a shame here as Levi just breaking a couple of legs, breaking 𝘁𝗃's legs, but pathing a little bit aggressively, and not expecting Vit and Blazers to join in the top side. It's a shame, but yeah, on the other side of the map, GAM all the time, because you commit 4 to the top side and you still trade 1-for-1.
Well, 21 kills to 10. GAM 8,000 gold up. And how do 𝘀cie? Okay, maybe this is how 𝘀cie get back into this. We've got some teleports coming through, but 𝘀𝗀𝗃 is in a bad spot. 𝘀𝗃 is going to get taken down. 𝘁𝗃 over the wall onto 𝘀𝗰𝗃. Goes golden to buy himself some more time. 𝘁𝗃 will actually be able to get to the lantern. The ignite is ticking down. He will fall nonetheless. But just look at how tanky 𝘁𝗃 is. Just look at how little he cares about members from 𝘀𝗀ie. He's going to get one. Now he's looking to 𝘀𝗀𝗃. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 over the wall, right towards B. 𝘁𝗃 sends his regards. 𝘁𝗀𝗃 picks up the kill. And it is an ace for one for GAM. Style flashing over the wall. He's just going to end this one right here. And GAM, in supervious fashion, will destroy 𝘀𝗀ie and take game 1 of the series and win their first game of the second round robin.
I mean, gotta give 𝘀𝗀ie credit for not just playing chicken and hiding in your base, trying to make something happen, but it's just not enough. GAM way too far ahead. And look, yeah, I dogged this Zed, but 𝘁𝗀𝗃, he managed to get himself rolling fairly early on. I gotta give him credit where credit's due. You showed me, mate. You're allowed to play it.
There you go. I'm a little sad because I didn't get to see, the soul of this bad boy, but we're going to be jumping on. Actually, no, I'm not going to be jumping on because 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹𝘀, you're not on the analyst desk. And we need to get more of your thoughts before we do throw to our analyst. So, for the side of 𝘀𝗀ie, what do you think that they can really do coming into game 2? And don't say pick Nocturne. I want something more in depth.
I mean, I think picking Nocturne is sort of part of the solution in the sense that play more towards the new patch, play more towards the new meta, trying to actually put together a very comfortable composition. Don't let yourself get counterpicked in 3 lanes. I mean, it was a beautiful pinch with that Jax pick into the Aurelius and then banning away the cannon. You are on red side now, so you might have the opportunity to actually do something akin to that yourself. However, on the red side, you're probably looking to ban Jinx yourself, so you're probably not going to get that. That's about my only solution.
All right. Well, to be honest, not counterpicking yourself is a good idea, or not getting counterpicked. We're going to be jumping on into a short break, and when we return, we will be having our analysts of 𝘀𝗀𝗃 and Tim giving us their thoughts on that opening game, and jumping on in to the second game of GAM against 𝘀𝗀ie. Stay tuned. We'll be right back here on VCS English. Welcome back, folks. We are getting ready to jump on into Game 2 between 𝘀�cie and a GAM. Game 1 was picked up by GAM, and 𝘀�cie 𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀, GAM have looked just as good as they've been looking recently. Okay, maybe the Z was a little bit iffy.
Maybe the Z, but maybe 𝘀𝗰𝗋 overall in the top lane. I mean, what was it 2v2 earlier? We saw, what was it getting solo killed by 𝘀𝗀? I think that just shouldn't happen. I mean, GAM had this huge draft gap, but they still tried to lose it. But the draft gap, I mean, it just was a canyon. And yeah, it's a little bit too much to overcome on the side of 𝘀�UE.
And okay, Tim, for 𝘀�UE, what can they do going on into Game 2? Because we heard 𝘀𝗻𝗻𝗀𝗀's thoughts on it, and she essentially said, you know, don't get counterpicked in draft, get a better draft that you can actually play around.
Yeah, I think draft was a huge issue. I think, especially Jack's pick coming in then with a cannon ban basically meant that every champion you could play topside realistically is still going to be bad into Jax. I think they still should have. I mean, I talked a bit with 𝘀𝗀 between the games. We still think they could have put the Graves top. It's a fine matchup where Graves gets to push early, and then 𝘀𝗀 maybe gets to do something in the matchup, and they get a better jungler to get them more playmaking. I think the Graves was just not ideal. Killer Queen, he had one nice play, I think, in the game where he was counter-ganking topside around level 4, which was really nice. A good position there from him to see the gang from Levi and then sneak into that bush and basically kill 𝘀𝗰𝗋 and put him behind. But other than that, he wasn't really able to do anything on that Graves. And 𝘀𝗀, I mean, just give this guy more resources. Just make him win, because he was by far the better top laner in Game 1. And I think if you want to win through somebody, it's going to be him.
Okay. Well, let's see if 𝘀�UE can play a little bit more towards the top side. Regarding the Z, regarding the Axiom picks, 𝘀𝗀, do you think we get to see the Nocturne presence in drafting phase for Game 2, or do you think it gets ignored, terribly ignored once again?
I mean, it's either Nocturne or just other picks who do similar stuff like the Z just now. I mean, maybe we also see like Talon Qiyana, some stuff like this, but Talon was banned just now, so maybe not that, or maybe we see the Nocturne finally banned, or hopefully picked in like one of the later rotations, which is something we are really looking forward to see. I mean, Nocturne is really strong right now. I mean, he does have one weakness, I dare say, because of the new chem map that might pop up on Summoner Swift right now. The chance is a little bit higher than 1 out of 6, because Riot decided to increase the chances of Hextech Rift and Chemtech Rift. They doubled them, so we get to see them more often. And maybe they fear that they might pick Nocturne into the Chemtech Rift, where he has a lot of less space to target because of the zones where nobody has any vision at all. But that's probably not the factor, let's be honest. It's probably just a little bit of a fun fact over there. And I want to see the Nocturne. I think just now Levi was like maybe he just wanted to style a little bit on the set pick, so to show his mechanics off. And maybe it was a little bit of a flex on 𝘀�UE, because the draft was already a hard one, no matter what he really picks there.
Okay, we'll see whether we get a bit more flexing coming through from Levi in Game 2. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Chemtech Rift and Hextech Rift, because you touched on the Chemtech Rift, but Tim, I want to talk about Hextech Rift, because I feel like there's a lot of cool plays that you can make with the Hextech Gate that we haven't really got a chance to see much of so far in general across any leagues, just because preseason is still relatively new.
Yeah, I think the gates are fine. I think they're a cool gimmick. I don't think they change too much. I think they're some very small uses where they could be useful, for example, like Ken getting a better flank because of it. But they made sure that it's very easy to see, even if you don't have exact vision, when somebody is traveling through them. So it's near impossible. I mean, you have to be half blind to not see Ken just going through your entire team through the Hextech Gate and then flanking you. So I think that they are very gimmicky. I think Hextech Rift is one of the most broken stuff they've put out in a while, because it changes warding to a point where it's really, really hard to contest vision and to contest once you're behind, just because you need to have pink wards down, because normal wards don't do anything.
Okay. Well, with that, we are jumping on into picks and bans for Game 2. Again, we're seeing this illusion presence, but I'm actually quite interested here, 𝘀𝗀, because we're seeing this respect towards the Irelia of Blazes.
I really like this actually, because the Irelia just now in the first game kind of lost the draft on the side of 𝘀�UE, but now 𝘀�UE is on red side, and they might just pick the Irelia late for a potential counter pick on either top or mid lane. So despite the pick losing the first draft, they still respect the overall possibility that the champion can bring towards the draft, and that is what I think is really respectful instead of GAM, and what is probably the right approach for them. On further notice, they still ban 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃's Talon, which is something that has been shown up a lot on the patch beforehand in the first rotation of the split, where 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃 went 6-1, so maybe there's some truth to it, that the Talon of 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 is indeed very strong. And they go for the Twisted Fate first pick, which is something I'm really looking forward to see from 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 again. We see time and time again that Twisted Fate is heavily contested, and
Hey! VCS 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃. Woohoo!
Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, the Jax pick would be actually kinda cool. Because I think it was locked in. Nice, I like it. With 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 playing the TF and then Style, of course, having the Jinx once again, I think it's nice. Also, of course, when you talk about mid laners that can really play around top lane and really just fiesta in top lane, like we saw last game, I think TF is probably one of your best options. But that also means now that 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃, they have to have an AP jungler, most likely, because I'm not expecting the Yone to go bot. So AP jungle it is.
And I want to touch on this Yone quickly, because this is actually the first Yone we've got since Spring Split, or Spring Playoffs here in the VCS. And actually, back in spring, it was Blazers who had one of those Yone games. What do we make of the Yone? How effective do we think it's going to be here in preseason?
I mean, it can really abuse the lethal tempo, so like Yone and Yasuo have this gimmick where their Q cooldown scales with attack speed, and your attack speed gets absolutely insane if you can block lethal tempo, which is something that is not that hard to do. And Yone in general is a champion that is not bad in all-ins at all, and he can maybe just force an all-in against 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 in lane, just straight up kill him there, and that is where TF is really vulnerable as an immobile mid laner. And now the Syndra gets locked in, likely for the bot lane now on the side of 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃, so I'm really looking forward to see what that can do. And later on, what 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 may think of a bot lane Syndra pick, because he's probably not too fond of this at all. And what I also like is something that I couldn't really bring up in time, was ranged top laners for 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 and Coated. And now that Jax was locked in, a lot of counters were banned. 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 went back to the Jace, and that is something I'm really looking forward to see, because he has to smash the lane, but he definitely has the tools in his arms to do it.
And how cheesy would it be, actually, Tim, if this Yone potentially goes towards the bottom lane?
No, it won't. I mean, I think Syndra is a great bot lane pick here for them. I think it's actually insanely good. I think Syndra has two very good bot lane matchup, and those are into Jinx and 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃. I think 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃, even more so by Jinx still, has a really rough time playing into Syndra, especially after level 6, and with the Leona, there shouldn't be any doubt that they get murdered. Now with the Xin Zhao coming in, though, I think just overall, the team probably lacks a lot of AP damage, and especially topside will be a huge issue. And always something that I want to keep in mind is that when you have side lane champions like Yone, like Jax that want to go side lane, but at both AD or both AP, it's usually very bad, because it's very easy to itemize against. And I think that will be a huge issue, because what do you do against an early armor boots 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃, for example? Like, the TF is going to be so tanky without really building tank items, just because he's able to build those armor boots. Same for Levi and 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 if he wants to go for them. So I think it is an issue for them that they have too much AD on the top side, and the only AP source is on bot lane.
And 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃, do you echo that statement? And is there a way for 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃 to really play around this?
I would somewhat echo it. I mean, it's not like the end of the world, because, I mean, Syndra is of course not the best DPS champion either, and both Yone and Jax actually have a portion of magic damage, but it probably will not be of a huge relevance. Also, they have like the Xin Zhao against a lot of projectiles coming in from GAM's side, and GAM's damage speed is also not ideal either way, because they only have the TF as their magic damage source. But I think GAM will likely just go ahead from the lanes in the first place, because they have this ranged into melee setup in both solo lanes, and Jinx is still very uncontested towards her own range. The only really threat I see there from the side of 𝘀𝗁𝗄𝗃 is like the Syndra Leona all-in, which is something that Style definitely has to keep an eye on. I think also B on 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 might be a crucial part to kind of nullify that engagement. 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 might just be a good pick here, actually. So overall, I would agree with Tim that it might be a problem for either of those teams, actually. But I still just think that GAM is a little bit better overall with the draft, because they just win the early game, and the early mid game is usually where the games are decided in the VCS.
Okay, and Tim, are you also with 𝘁𝗁𝗄𝗃 on the side of GAM?
Yes, and something I want to talk about in the last point, what I really like is 𝘀😰 and 𝘁𝗀. Both are looking for the reset, so one shot, one target, and I think the team fight always goes to GAM.
Okay, and with that, we are making our way on to the Rift. It's time to bring 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 back on in to the casting desk. And 𝘀𝗶𝗶, I'm seeing a little smile on your face. Is that because there's no Zed jungle this game?
No, it's because the big emotes on the screen were flashing, and I found it kind of funny. Beyond that, in terms of actual game sense, I kind of like what I'm pretty happy with what the teams have put together. 𝘀𝗀cie, I think, have sort of found themselves in a little bit of they might be lacking magic damage as time goes on, but in the end, I think if they get enough items on the Jax and the 𝘀𝗀, I don't think it'll matter too much because. Yeah, I'm looking at this Jinx and saying, all right, there's a hell of a lot of dive, but there's not a hell of a lot of defensive tools for the Jinx to work with. Has the 𝘀𝗀, of course, but if 𝘀𝗀's committing to the engage, then you just have to try and do your best to keep at arm's length, which, you know, it's only so possible against the likes of a 𝘀𝗀 who can cross 3 screens length in a very, very short amount of time. So it is going to come down to this early laning, seeing if 𝘁𝗀 can get out on the map, make the most of this Twisted Fate before it becomes a non-factor outside of the gold card stun bot. And it's particularly towards this bot lane, which is going to be shoved in very hard thanks to the negative lane pressure the 𝘀𝗀 provides. And up against the Syndra, who, I mean, she can just keep spamming out these Dark Spheres and get a very effective wave shove. That is sort of matched a little bit by the Rockets, but actually 𝘁𝗀 putting down the damage onto Coated on what used to be, at the very least, his signature pick of the Jax, taking a fair amount of bullying from this Jace, as is to be expected in early levels. It's not necessarily the fault of Coated as a player, it's the fault of the matchup.
So actually, I just wanted to check on that. Coated, his 3rd most played champion is Jax. His most played champion by a long shot is actually the 𝘁𝗁, and has a very large 69.4% win rate on the champion.
Okay, but I don't think anyone's signature champion is 𝘁𝗁 outside of, say,
that is true,
in 2018. Yeah. And that's just weird because it was in the jungle. But yeah, Coated came into the VCS playing Jax. When it was kind of a weird thing to do, and early pressure top.
Yep. 3 members of GAM on the top side, and Coated, well, GAM say, hey, we see the fact that you've got 5 CS. We kind of want to keep it there. Coated's going to use Counter-Strike, trying to get towards his tower, will jump towards Blaze. Now it's a 3v2 on the tower. I don't know if this was a right decision from 𝘀𝗀cie, because Blaze is forced back onto the tower, will flash, will die. And Coated's just thinking, why are you feeding members of this team? 𝘁𝗀 steals away the soul. 𝘁𝗀 is forced to flash forward. Coated will get the kill. Really well played from the 𝘀𝗀cie top laner, but there's not going to be much he can do now. He's locked down, he's taken down. And in all of that, 𝘀𝗀cie or Coated, he got a kill, he got a CS, and he will get no more.
Bit silly coming out of 𝘁𝗀 at the back end there, but yeah, that Soul Unbound for turning Blazers, it causes him a lot of pain, and then it sort of does the same to 𝘁𝗀 here, as he's not able to keep running down Coated, and Coated's able to turn comfortably onto 𝘁𝗀. 𝘁𝗀, he got
greedy with the gold card. He was holding the gold card for the Counter-Strike event, and he mistimed it narrowly, so he didn't actually get the stun off.
I don't think it necessarily would have saved. I think it partially timed out as well. It might have timed out. I don't actually know. It's a bit of a either or. Either way, I don't think it would have saved 𝘁𝗀 because of how low he was and Coated being able to jump right on top of him. But it is overall 2 for 1, including first blood to the side of GAM and a fair amount of CS denied to Coated. And you can see that reflected happily in the gold lead. Very good work from B to deny that Zenith.
Yeah, and Coated's really starting to enjoy this matchup, and right as I say that, 𝘁𝗀 turns it around just a little bit. Just to give few more thoughts, because our wonderful producer Spood has fed us with it. Vit has apparently played Syndra once before, which was back in 2020 spring, which he lost with the champ. So he's not played this champion in over a year. So it's been quite a while. Let's see. Oh yeah,
that's obviously
at least. Yeah,
and And honestly, when it comes to stats from like win-loss ratio, it's like from that time, it's very hard to really say anything. As
Whoa. That was beautiful.
Something happened, but yeah, I mean it's hard to say because Vit was on one of the absolute worst, the absolute worst team of OPG, and so yeah, he was going to lose a lot of games, and so you can't read too much into those stats. A, they were a year ago. A, he was on a much worse team. Or B, he was on a much worse team. We like A in this part of the world. Yeah, Syndra, it's doing fairly well up against the Jinx so far. I think he's playing it fine right now.
You know what isn't going fairly well, Marby? Coated CS into 𝘀𝗰𝗋, because he has only recently been allowed to really farm, and well, he is down 25 CS on 𝘀𝗰𝗋. It's not looking super pretty right now for him.
No, it's not, and that's mostly due to that really fantastic that kerfuffle in the top lane, because it kept him out of tower. Like about a wave and a half just got fed away to the tower and lost forever. Plus the kill goes over, etc., etc. Just a lot done to keep Coated down, and that's what you want to do with this Jace pick. And this Twist of Fate as well. Getting off to a 2-0 start is fantastic. Already putting pressure down onto the map. Now we just need to see it rinse and repeat now that the Destiny is available. Hovering towards the top side should be making Coated nervous.
As you mentioned, that Destiny is available. Coated just sitting in a brush. He knows he can't step too far forward because he might get ganked by a Viego. He might get roamed on by 𝘁𝗏 with that Destiny. Blaze is going to be able to get some priority in the mid lane. Drake is up. We will be having Rift Herald up in in a few moments' time.
10 seconds. Roundabout.
I was just trying to remember. Is it?
It is 8 o'clock. 8 minutes. Yeah.
I got thrown off because the little hourglass on the Rift Herald was white, and I was thinking, if it's white, that means it's over 30 seconds, right? But yeah. I guess that's for Drake.
But it's there. It's being started by 𝘁𝗏 and Coated. The GAM had focused on that bot side, but now with Destiny coming in, they have full awareness over this pit and has given lots of time for the bot lane to roam, and teleport forced out of it. Might just commit to trying to shove instead, put in the damage Jinx can do onto a tower.
Okay, 𝘀𝗏
he has
on
ultimate,
the
this is key.
B engaging onto 𝘁𝗏. 𝘁𝗏 not going to be able to get the aftershock. Watch for 𝘀𝗏 coming from the side. He's going to be able to get a shock blast. Coated taken down low on the flame chompers. 𝘀𝗏 able to get one. Zenith Blade comes through. 𝘀𝗏 still alive, won't die. Coated leaping forward will be able to find the kill. And it is a 2 kills for 3 with GAM coming out on top. It's a double kill for Vit. No Rift Herald secured by either team, but GAM are just going to move to the mid lane and pick up some tower plates on the outer tower. Yeah,
it's also some kills onto Style, which is what you want to see. In the end, with both junglers going down, nobody wants to go towards the objective itself, and getting some plates on the backside for Style as well is fantastic. 2-0 on the Jinx now. Vit not being able to pick anything up. Coated, however, the winner from that on the side of 𝘀𝗏, as these 2 kills should bring him back into the game.
And for 𝘁𝗏 right now, he's role-playing 𝘀𝗏 from game 1, saying, okay, I got put behind early, I need to find a way to get back in, I need to get a couple of items, then I can start to do work in the side lane, then I can start to be the side lane monster that Jax grows to become.
Yep, and with this pick up from the Herald for Levi, they can pivot this straight towards the top side Jinx, and Rift Herald can absolutely demolish a plate. Good to see 𝘀𝗏 just giving absolute respect, knows there's no vision on the bot side, knows he has no assistance down here either. Loses the big Krug. That's a shame. 𝘁𝗏 very happy though.
𝘁𝗏, well, gonna be able to clear out some vision. Killer Queen nearby. As 𝘀𝗏 moves to the bottom side of the map. Style just in the top lane, looking to pick up some towers for themselves. And presumably get a Rift Herald, so some extra plates that could potentially go their way.
Yeah, I do like this move from B. Style and Levi should be more than strong enough to 2v1 Coated, and with the Rift Herald making sure there's no turret for him to dance around. So head down, make sure 𝘀𝗰𝗃 is safe, make sure he can pick up farm and defend the turret as well. Very good moves out of this 𝘀𝗀liche. Very good moves out of GAM as a whole. And once again, we're looking at this Destiny coming up and saying, where do GAM go next? We're going to have a rotation down into the bot lane from south, so I imagine that's where they're going to overload the side. That's the side of the map they're going to overload.
𝘀𝗀xe looks for a quick trade on to 𝘁𝗀. We'll be able to take the Twisted Fate down to around half HP, and right now 𝘀𝗀xe in a fairly tricky situation, trailing by 3,000 gold against GAM, and we're only 11 minutes into this game as well, 𝘁𝗶𝗶𝗹.
Yeah, it's a huge gold lead for the timestamp, but it's not like 𝘀𝗀xe are completely out. Jax and 𝘀𝗀ne, of course, can be absolute demons as time goes on, but with this back and 𝘀𝗰𝗃 in position, 𝘀𝗀xe is not actually going to be collapsed on, but has to be a lot more careful as the GAM make sure they get control of this bot side, make sure they get control of this river, make sure no one can interrupt Style doing his thing on the bot side, picking up plate after plate by being 𝘀𝗰𝗃. So here comes
okay, we've got teleport flank coming through. The focus is undoubtedly on to Style. The Flame Chompers have been dropped. Fate Seal comes through. Style will get taken down. Coated now the focus for the side of GAM, but they won't be able to find anything more. Zenith Blade narrowly avoids tagging on to B. 𝘀𝗀xe will get their singular kill, and they will back off all the while. 𝘁𝗀 in the mid lane, just pushing, just picking up some plates of his own.
Yeah, saw the way the wind was turning and decided to use that gate portion to just stay where he was. He didn't even use the gate. He was like, well, I'm not gonna be much use down here. Our big damage threat is dead, but these guys should be able to hold the turret. I will get some pressure down. I will try and make the gold trade relatively even, which is a fair call. It's a bit of a shame as you get the shutdown onto Style, as good flash from 𝘀𝗰𝗃 to keep himself safe. 𝘁𝗃 making sure they don't overcommit onto him.
B is here as well. Killer Queen has to be careful as he's going to drop down the ultimate. Killer Queen is going to die for his efforts, and it will be a 1-for-1, but a lot of gold is going to be denied away from 𝘀𝗰𝗃. He does not have the teleport available. 𝘁𝗃 dropping the wind becomes lightning, as that is a dead 𝘀𝗀xe. You can't see him, but you can see his swords in the middle of the lane. So, yeah, 𝘀𝗀xe is trying to kill Style, and Style not even needing to use a cleanse.
Yeah, the ADC just solo killing the mid lane, and you love to see it. Actually, it's fantastic. 𝘀𝗀𝗃 gonna be struggling a little bit. He's not anywhere near 𝘀𝗰𝗃's power level right now, thanks to having a completed Kraken Slayer on the side of 𝘀𝗰𝗃. Also going very aggressive under the turret.
Did he get a chance to actually press E again and snap back to do the execution?
I think either he went back naturally, or the other thing. I don't actually know what happens if you die in Soul Unbound if you get snapped back, but he did. He went back, and an auto attack followed him or something, and he ended up dead. It's just a very aggressive play from 𝘀𝗀xe, not respecting the tower damage, not respecting the 𝘀𝗰𝗃 damage. Ends up paying for it, giving another kill over to Style. Very happy in their position as 3-1-1. Well, it's
last game
control.
Yeah, 𝘀𝗀xe being able to steal away this blue buffer from 𝘁𝗃. And remember, last game, we saw Style 3-0 and 3 on the 𝘀𝗃xe. Is going to pick up their second tower of the game. 𝘁𝗃 and 𝘁𝗃 trading somewhat in the bottom lane. As we do still, for 𝘀𝗀xe, have that solo tower in the mid lane. The only outer tower left standing for them.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at a Rift Herald spawning soon. That's why there's all this attention up here. And 𝘀𝗀xe's getting a very high feed, but has that Soul Unbound to return to. But here's 𝘁𝗃 forcing the ultimate.
𝘀𝗀xe is forced to retreat away, and GAM might be able to pick up the outer tower in the mid lane. Now, 𝘁 joining into the fray. Scatter the Weak. Who does he want to tag on? Presumably going to be onto Style, maybe onto 𝘁𝗃, because we already heard from our analysts, again, if Style or 𝘁𝗃 can get a kill in a fight with that reset, it can just be so huge for them, and then the fight just swings massively into GAM's favor, regardless of how strong 𝘀𝗀xe might be feeling.
Here be. Oh, even better from 𝘁. They read it immediately. But yeah, it was a nice attempt from GAM. The pressure is enough to take down that tower. And now as we head towards the top side, I want to bring back to that last Rift Herald point fight to build on your point, because in that one, Levi was at least the first on the side of GAM to drop. And that meant wasn't able to get any resets, wasn't able to pop off alongside Style and really secure that fight for GAM. So it's a fairly even, I mean, it was a win for GAM overall, but if Levi had survived and been able to get those resets, it probably would have been a wash, and GAM would have been off to an even better position than they are now at 4K. That was... Whew.
Rift Herald helping with the luxury leashing. 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 has been snagged, and I think 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 might be dying. He drops the Crescent Guard, but this actually baits her Coated in, and now Coated is probably going to die as well. Unleashed power denied by 𝘁𝗀's stopwatch, and instead of losing one member, luxury lose 3, and they might lose a 4th, but H3 will flash on out to safety.
Yeah, I mean, 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 gets the Rift Herald, but GAM get the fight and have now got full control. It's just a little bit unfortunate for them that they can't really convert it into anything. Wave's not in great position. A little bit of damage going to come down to mid and top tower, but yeah, just CC'd on to 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀. Coated and 𝘀 try very aggressively to save and blast counting over. They don't know when to cut their losses. It seems to be the big thing. And if you just let 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 die, get the reset with the Rift Herald, then that's worth it, I feel. I think that's completely fine. You probably picked up a decent chunk of gold off an objective bounty as well. So, yeah, I think if you just let 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 die, that's the 100% correct play.
Oh no. You don't have priority to be doing this, luxury. And it is just bad decision-making from 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀. We see bad decision-making from H3 in Game 1 as well. And the luxury macro, the luxury decision-making has just been absolutely awful this series. And they get punished for it yet again.
Yeah, they're playing like they're ahead, but they are, you know, 6,000-7,000 gold behind and just pushing very aggressively, finding 3 members. And then you have 𝘁𝗀 able to join and make it a 4th. And able to, of course, lock down thanks to that gold card. Means an easy pickup of 2 kills, and Blazers died on the top side. So did 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 apparently, but they got 𝘁𝗀.
Yeah, so it was a dive onto 𝘁𝗀. They got the kill. Blazers tanked a few tower shots, and oh no, Coated. I mean, there's not much he can do about that. He was running pretty much straight from the moment he got the kill on 𝘁𝗀, and it's just that 𝘁𝗀 and 𝘁𝗀 were able to cut off his access to his inner tower before he got to safety. So overall, is GAM picking up 2 kills for 1 on the top side trades.
Yeah, grabbing that reset timing as well. Gonna lose a mid tower quite possibly thanks to this Rift Herald play. And yeah, we just see 𝘁𝗀 jumping to the top side to defend it against Coated. And everyone joins in the party. It's just everyone coming in to have a good time. Blazers gets caught onto tower. Coated takes a lot of damage in the response. And the collapse is fantastic. Catching him out of position. Nothing he can do from here. As soon as 𝘁𝗀's able to get that knock into the wall with a headbutt, now fight around Dragon.
Unleashed power, Levi engaged. No, Levi survives on the sliver of HP, and it's disaster for luxury. Coated gets taken down. If they were able to get a 1-for-1, maybe it could have been worthwhile, but now 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 dies as well. 𝘀 is on the run, so is Blazes. 2 more kills for GAM, and 𝘀 get nothing. Oh, well, 𝘀's gonna die. Luxury get nothing in return. 3 kills for nothing for GAM. And it is disaster striking luxury, who are about to pick up their 2nd defeat of the split.
Yeah, Infernal Soul point obtained, and Baron 15 seconds away. I think a quick reset and they could probably look to turn it. As Blazers, you're still not winning that fight, mate.
No.
You didn't win it. You didn't win it 10 minutes ago. You don't win it now for sure. And yeah, we just see it's a little bit of bad positioning from GAM. They are second to the play, and Style not involved, wailing on Coated, but not being able to get Levi with the overcommittal from Coated. If it gets Levi, maybe it looks kind of different, but without it, he just has to book it. He can't get away. 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 just sacrifices himself to try and burst the dragon down in time. Doesn't matter, and then 𝘀 starts unable to dodge the zap. Falls down as the final prize. 𝘀cie_𝗰𝗀 has just been caught out over and over again, and with the kill onto the jungler, instant Baron.
This has been 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀 worst game, worst series of the split so far, and I don't even think it's close. I mean, even when you compare it to 𝘁𝗁 seemed like just 𝘀𝑚𝑒 as a whole fell off. This feels a lot more of it on 𝘁𝗁. It feels a lot on 𝘁𝑎𝑧𝑒 as well. 𝘁𝑎𝑧𝑒's been making some poor decision making, and 𝘁𝗀 feels like the one player who's been playing decently for 𝘀𝑚𝒻, but just can't really do anything. Doesn't have the resources to do anything against what is a very fed GAM team.
Yeah, I think similar thing is going for Vid. He wasn't really able to set up to succeed on the Syndra, and at this point he can't really find his way into these fights. They're just over before they begin, and you're looking across the scoreboard at his opposite number, 3 completed items to the 1 of the Syndra. It's so far down, 10k at 21 minutes. It's just about putting on the finishing touches, and with this Baron buff, they absolutely should be able to do so. As there's a bit of a scuffle in the mid lane.
Well, Solar Flare has dropped. Is there at any point really casting over this? You kind of know how these fights are going to go. It's all going the way of GAM and 𝘀𝑚𝒀 right now. It's a case of, well, I'd say not getting tilted and resetting for Game 3, but there is no Game 3 because this will be the final game of the series. And, well, for 𝘀𝑚𝒀, maybe they need to reset and prepare for their next series, which will be on Saturday against Team Flash, and that should be a good game for them to get back to winning ways. But this game has been entirely GAM, and GAM really doing well as we enter into the second half of the season. 2 inhibitors are down. GAM will not overstretch. They will not overforce. They will reset and come back later on to finish off this base of 𝘀𝑚𝒀.
Yeah, there was potential talk about the preseason being a little bit of a problem for GAM, maybe some of the changes not favoring them in the way they prefer to play the game, but it seems like they haven't really missed a beat. The spot lane especially, 𝘁𝗁 down, as the spot side especially, yeah, with 𝘁𝗁 included, I don't want to look over him. They've just been fantastic this series. 𝘁𝗁 and 𝘁𝑚𝒀, they fumbled a little bit in game 1. 𝘁𝗁 has been bullied on a little bit by 𝘀𝑚𝒀 this game, but it's been just fantastic showing from GAM overall, and this should be a huge momentum boost for them, claiming second pretty much in all but scoreline, really. I think even 1-1 in head-to-head. I think game score still in 𝘀𝑚𝒀's favor, but I can't say for sure. As here we go, should be the final fight.
It should be the final fight. 𝘁𝗁 will be the focus. Headbutt Pulverize comes through. �Բlazes engaging with the unsealed, or with the sealed Fate, unable to find anything. All members of GAM still alive. It is a triple kill for Style. The quadra kill, well, will be denied by 𝘁𝑚𝒀, who steals away the Leona Soul. I don't really think that's going to do much. I don't think you can Zenith Blade onto a tower either, 𝘁𝑚𝒀. You might have to practice some of your Leona, but either way, it is a game, and it is series for GAM, who are able to take a clean 2-0 against 𝘀𝑚𝒀 and tie themselves with the latter in second place in the VCS Winter Split standings.
Yeah, and looking on from the earlier match this week, these two, they both were a little bit shaky. We said GAM looked better than 𝘀𝑚𝒀, but I was willing to say, okay, 𝘀𝑚𝒀 are just, they're more focused on this next patch, on the patch change that's coming up later. They're sort of just having a little bit of, I was happy to sort of write off that series as a little bit of a fumble. No, this looks bad news bears for 𝘀𝑚𝒀. Sorry, it's my cat pushes my green screen at me. Yeah, no, it's been good for them so far, but this seems to be the turning point. They seem to be fumbling and falling apart, and I hope they can get their act together coming up against Flash, but it's looking bad. They are looking actually just bad.
Yeah, and no denying that. I mean, you're speaking to the president of the 𝘀𝑚𝒀 fan club here, and I'm in full agreement with you as well, 𝘁𝑚𝒀. If they don't pick things up against Flash, if they lose to Flash, dare I say, the honeymoon period for 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 is completely over. And talking about 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 making it into playoffs, all of a sudden, 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 don't have momentum. They've got the likes of 𝘀𝗰𝗶𝗹𝗀𝗀, 𝘀𝑠𝑇𝑒, GAM are now alongside them, maybe even 𝘂𝑏𝑇C that they all have to start worrying about. And for GAM, though, things are looking absolutely perfect for them, right?
Yep, absolutely. On a huge upswing. I think later this week they play against BTS. Middle of the pack team. If they put on a performance like they did today, they should absolutely crush that and secure themselves pretty comfortably up in that upper region. Looking at Cerberus in the future as this is the next one to overcome.
Well, thank you, 𝘁𝗶𝗶, very much for your thoughts. We're going to be jumping back to our analysts of 𝘀𝐻𝐶 and Tim to get their thoughts on the game, on the series as a whole. And 𝘀𝐻𝐶, I'll jump to you first. As I was saying to 𝘁𝗶𝗶, this week, 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 week 3 is practically the opposite of 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 week 1.
It kind of is, but I don't want to paint like the devil to the wall or something, because I mean this was GAM, and GAM looked pretty polished, I would say. I mean, 𝘂𝗋 had some issues in both games, I would say. I mean, there were like some things that were like not as cleanly played as we expect of 𝘂𝗋, the MVP of I think last split, also split prior to that. I'm not quite remembering this in the exact way, but I mean this GAM team only really dropped games in the first week and keeps looking better. I mean, are they quite Cerberus level? We will find out next week, I guess. But for 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋, it just looked really rough today. I mean, they themselves made themselves look like more of a bottom tier team today. And 𝘁𝗃 was like maybe some of the silver linings for them. A little bit maybe 𝘁𝑎𝑧𝑒s, who had like some decent skirmishes, but that was basically all there is to it. But I mean, this was GAM. You get one off, but if you lose to 𝘀𝑠hi𝗋, as you said earlier, there will be some consequences for this team.
And Tim, your thoughts actually. Let's look over to GAM, because as 𝘀𝐻𝐶 was saying, they've been looking a little bit polished so far this week. Well, not just this week, ever since the start of week 2, really.
Yeah, and I think it was a bit surprising that especially 𝘂𝗋 played really questionable today, because I think he was one of the better performing or more consistent members previous, who really stepped it up very early. But I think today was the day of 𝘂𝗋. I mean, 𝘂𝗋 was just all over the map, both games, both on Vex, both on TF. He did what you expect. He ran over the map, was there for every skirmish, and won it for his team. And I think then also the bot lane of Style and especially be consistently being good on the playmakers, and then Style just having good positioning, getting some kills, I think twice in a row. I was actually joking about with 𝘀𝐻𝐶. They went 5v5 at the Herald, and twice in a row Style just got 2 kills at Herald, and the game was basically over because Jinx was fed. And I think all around GAM just played very nicely, except for maybe 𝘂𝗋, who against 𝘂𝗃 didn't have the greatest of showings.
Yeah, and I mean, what is it that you think, Tim, 𝘀𝑠hi𝗰𝗋 can do to get back to winning ways? What's gone wrong for them between week 2 and week 3?
I'm not so sure what went wrong for them, but I think coming up against 𝘀𝑠hi𝗋, I think they have a very good matchup actually for themselves, because I think a lot of 𝘀𝑠hi𝗋's strength comes from topside, comes from Yoshino, and if we learn anything, I think 𝘂𝗃 can handle any top laner right now in the league. So I think if 𝘂𝗃 can get a similar performance against 𝘀𝑠hi𝗋, they should at least find a win there, and in that time frame where they basically get a free win against Team 𝘀𝑠hi𝗋, they have to figure out how to play the game, and especially I think bot lane has to figure out how to play, because they looked absolutely outclassed today.
Absolutely. And, well, on that note, we're going to be throwing in to a break. When we return, we will be having our second series of the day, 𝘀𝑠ky taking on 𝘀𝗀𝗋𝗋☆. Stay tuned. We will be back in, I think, about an hour or so with that second series here at VCS English.